Music cut out.
It cut out, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm having trouble with this. So let me just do it manually then. This is going to not sound great, and I apologize in advance, but it's better than nothing.
Coming live every Tuesday at 7 with Steve, Cat, Ryan, and Amanda and Eric, and the voice of NEW, Vince Berry, hitting all the topics like the clothesline blurry. Turn up your speakers and hear them out. You can listen from your car, even on your couch. They too raw, who NXT, handing out Smackdowns, follow on IG. Plus, it's sponsored by Tagmeadate. Go to YouTube and sub now for every update. It's all wrestling here. No safe space, now listen in. Time to hear from some of the greats.
And, let's see here.
It's the greatest night in the history of our great sport. The War Report is live. The War Report podcast brought to you by askthewarreport.com, the first, only, and free dating site exclusively for wrestling fans. I'm Tony Giovanni, and now here's your host, Vince the Pitberry.
All right, well, I got a little graphic put together. I hope everybody can see that on the screen there, the old Nitro logo. Well, welcome to the War Report, brought to you by Tagmeadate.com, the first and only dating site exclusive for fans of professional wrestling. Can you hear me, Steve?
I can hear you loud and clear, my friend.
Wonderful. I'm having some issues over here. It looks like my audio interface has seen better days. It might have finally shit the bed after all these years. I don't know. I'm trying to figure stuff out. But anyway, we are here live, of course, with the War Report podcast brought to you by Tagmeadate.com, the first and only dating site exclusively for wrestling fans. With our roster of over 70,000 superstars and divas, you too can find your tag team match on Tagmeadate.com. And might I say, we call them the tag team champions. Like, I don't know what's the right verbiage here.
This is a.
We have another Ryan, which is going to kind of muck things up, but it's okay. We have Ryan the intern, but then we've got Ryan here, who is one half of the reigning defending Tagmeadate.com tag team champions. They are the first couple to not only match, but to be engaged, and be married, and that to me is amazing because we started this project. Steve started way before I got in it, like 5+ years ago, and to see people matching and meeting people, I mean, what else can you ask for?
It just shows you that if there were any doubters out there, whether or not it actually works, it clearly works. So we're excited. We have Ryan, we have Alice. Well, we have Allison is Ryan's wife. She may pop on later today, but she is a little tied up at the moment. But we do have one half of the tag team, so we're excited. And man, do we have a lot of questions, don't we?
Oh God, I mean, where to begin? First, I guess here's the best question. First of all, thank you for taking time out of your day to join us on our little podcast here. It's always cool when we have guests, and I guess let's start from the beginning. How did you even hear of Tagmeadate.com?
Well, before I even get started with that, we gotta go back.
Oh, excellent.
Because I'm the reigning defender. We gotta put some Paul Heyman in that reigning defending. I mean, I'm the only, or maybe not the only, but I am the first. Right? I'm like Chris Jericho, undisputed. I am the
Absolutely.
groom that Tagmeadate has produced. So I'm expecting in 20 years, 30 years, when we are creating the Mount Rushmore, I hope that me and Allison are on that Mount Rushmore.
Certainly up there.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean,
Hall of Fame rings are coming. Hall of Fame.
There's only one first.
that's true.
That's what I'm saying.
And you guys are the characters.
But yeah, I mean, it's to be honest, it's kind of crazy how it all happened. I mean, at LaGuardia Plaza, I was, at this convention, heard about this, dating site for wrestling fans. I had literally no idea what to expect, and I've never been on a dating site, so I guess it's cool, right? That I went one and done. But
Those are good odds.
yeah, right. But yeah, I mean, it took me a while to actually go on and make the actual profile, but I did have the flyer, so one night pretty much I was drunk, but made the profile.
That explains it all.
Well, maybe we should be thanking Jim Beam. Maybe he should actually be the one that's on that Mount Rushmore, because I was definitely drinking some Jim Beam that night. But yeah, I mean, eventually I got some matches. So what I did, I matched it on like my preference, like like my favorites and stuff like that. So I actually matched, I'm not even gonna lie, with a couple people, and it was just cool to like, at first it was almost like networking, like I wasn't even like, yeah. So
It was more just to talk about wrestling.
exactly. It was almost like a social forum, and at that time I was huge on like WrestleZone and all these other forums. So this just exposed me to another forum, but now like obviously most of them were all of them were girls, so it was like pretty exciting. So I went to a couple places, but one thing I kept running into, right, was like you talk to them, and then it's like, oh, okay, like this show is happening in the area, and I'm from Westchester, New York, right? So like if WWE is doing something at the county center, or maybe ROH is at the Hammerstein Ballroom, I'm like, yeah, like, we should go. And, they're like, okay. And then I'm like, well, like, do you want to, like, split the tickets or whatever? And, like, those logistics almost always trip me up because, I don't know. I'm not trying to say that I'm a dick or, like, that, I'm not chivalrous, but, I don't even know you, I'm not going to be out here, spending, however much it is. So I gotta get.
I know.
That's what I'm saying, and I'm bougie. I don't like to be in the top row. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, I like to actually be able to see the sweat, the blood, the tears, on these professionals. So I do like closer seats, but I do not like to spend twice as much for these close seats. So that was actually tripping me up for a little bit of time. So I actually made the switch to match by location, and that's what actually turned it around, because I actually ended up finding Allison's promo, and her favorite wrestler, first of all, my favorite wrestler is Bret Hart, the Hitman, excellence of execution.
Nice.
I'm all about the mat wrestling. Hers couldn't be any my Ultimate Warrior. So I was like, I don't even know what to expect. but her promo was amazing, actually. Like, I literally can't even explain it. But, I liked her page, and she happened to like mine. I didn't even have a promo. I'm not even going to lie. My self-confidence was pretty low at that point. So I didn't even have one. But yeah, we matched up. And you want to know? I'll tell you guys all right now how I knew she was the one.
Pop on later today.
What was that?
She was like, yo, let's go to SummerSlam. I got these 2 tickets.
What?
Yeah. This whole time, I was being tripped up on, the logistics of trying to, should I pick you up? You live mad far. Oh, these tickets are so expensive. But no, she was like, no, let's do this. Like, I got the tickets, so we went to SummerSlam 16. That was Brock Randy, where he busted him open.
Wow.
Yeah.
2016 was when you guys matched?
Yeah, well, I'm the OG. This doesn't.
Yeah, that was kind of early on, where like we probably had half the subscribers?
That was probably around the time where we had just relaunched the website, because when we first had launched, we had quite a few issues, and then we did a relaunch. He must have jumped on it. Was right after the relaunch.
That's amazing, man. That's and like you said, she bought the tickets rather than you having do that like awkward. Are we gonna split it? Oh, I'll Ticketmaster.
You put a ring on that finger as soon as that happens.
For real though, for real.
Well, it took me a little while, but we had a good time then. And then the real big one. This was actually crazy. And I'm not even gonna lie. This sounds like a movie, but I promise you, because we were talking pretty much from SummerSlam 2016. We're talking every day. So she calls me, and I'm at work, and I'm like, all right, what's up? She's like, yo, I just won a radio contest to get a flight, a free flight and free hotel in Orlando.
No shit.
And
you guys gotta play the lotto or something. What the hell?
Yeah, we did that year. That year we definitely did. But I guess you could say I won the lotto with Allison.
There you go. 20 points.
But yeah, I mean, so she got this free hotel and board, and I was like, oh shit, like congratulations, like not thinking anything of it. And she was like, isn't WrestleMania in Orlando this year?
I love it.
I was like, oh my god, she's about to invite me to. What? Like, we just met. What is that? August, the year before. I was like, all right. But I mean, no one's gonna give me a free stay in Orlando, and I'm gonna say no. All right. Any listeners out there, let that be known. I'll still ride to Orlando if anyone wants to take your boy. So that's pretty much what we did. We had a great time because she, pretty much got me this free opportunity. I had no problem buying those unbelievably expensive WrestleMania 33 floor seats.
Preach.
We went to Access, which I highly recommend for any fan of pro wrestling. You don't even have to still be into WWE, but Access is a tremendous experience.
Truth.
What else did we do? Did we do NXT that year? I'm trying to think. I don't know if we did NXT that year, but we had an amazing weekend. I will say that WrestleMania that year was so long, waiting for Undertaker to finally get his ass up that ramp after losing to Roman.
Oh man, I was there for that. That shit took forever.
Yeah, were you, because getting an Uber after that, I did not get home till like 3 o'clock. Like, it was the craziest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, man. They did the same this year at in New Jersey. Well, New York, but New Jersey. It was the same kind of thing where at the end of the show, everybody was waiting in Ubers, waiting at that. There was like one spot that had a sign, Ubers here. And like everybody waited there and they didn't get out until like 3 o'clock in the morning.
It was, oh my God. And so we drove to 35 to avoid that problem.
Yeah, we
Smart move.
But yeah, no, we oh my God, we definitely suffered that night. But it was, oh my God, it was an unforgettable weekend. I really think I mean, obviously I said when she got the tickets for SummerSlam, like, yeah, she's the one. But like spending that time in Orlando, that was really like the most time we spent because it was like 4 days, right? Like, so, for those 4, like, we pretty much went on vacation together like 8 months in.
That's
right. And to do that so well, I mean, it was just a matter of time. Then I just needed to get the money to get a ring, to be honest. So I ended up popping the question last year outside of Barclays Center after SummerSlam. So really, I'm all about that, trying to bring everything full circle. And that's where, we first, had a great time together. And this was a time to say, hey, well, you know what? we're gonna have a great time for the rest of our lives. So, you know, with a tear in my eye, you know, I popped the question. She said the right answer because I was ready to lay the Smackdown, you know. But yeah, no, she said the right answer. And then we got married a couple weeks back at the beginning of this month. So it's been a wild ride, and I must say, you know, I am so grateful for, you know, everyone here right now that's responsible for Tagmeadate, and even more thankful to Jim Beam, who told me to Tagmeadate so that could all be possible. Because oh my God, every single time I look at Allison, I'm thinking about Jim Beam, and I'm thinking about all of you guys.
I want to jump in for a minute. I want to say this. This is, first of all, Jim Beam, if you're listening, we are down for a sponsorship. But I just want to say, like, this is the prime example, the prime reason why we came up with Tagmeadate. You know, for wrestling fans to find each other, whether it's to have a relationship romantically or just to have somebody to be able to go to a show with and enjoy the experience of a live pro wrestling show. And we actually have somebody that's proof in the pudding that it does work. And we were able to help two people find each other through their passion for pro wrestling. And that's what it's all about. I think this is great. And we're grateful to have you come on the show and talk about it and your experience. And Allison, we appreciate you allowing him to come on and talk about it. And, you know, it's a cool thing, man. This is very cool. And it's funny, too, because we all have similar, you know, like, for me, I have a similar, you know, where on our first date with now my wife, I kind of found out right away if she was into pro wrestling. At the time, she really was. Now, not as much, but that's another story. She took me to a WrestleMania in Atlanta. Wound up being Edge's last match, or possibly, because now it looks like he might be coming back. But, you know, either way, so it's cool. You know, that this is the exact reason why we came up with the idea.
It's definitely beautiful. And I will definitely say that, like, those early months, that's exactly what it was. I was talking to people left and right. Like, it wasn't even like you said, it wasn't even like, you know, romantic, like, you know, just sharing our passion for wrestling. Like, I'm that dude that, you know, people might not know that I'm a wrestling fan, but if you say one wrestling reference next to me, I'm going on for the next 12 hours. You know what I'm saying? So, that was definitely a tremendous, you know, outlet, I guess, for me. And then to be able to meet Allison on there, you know, you already know, like, what you guys have done for me, I'm going to reap the benefits until I breathe my last breath, you know, so.
Yeah. It's so cool, man, just because I don't know how much feedback a lot of websites like this get in terms of people reaching back out saying, hey, this happened, that happened. I mean, literally, when Steve told us about this, we thought, oh, they just matched and they're like going on dates or something, and like, no, it's more than they matched, they got engaged, they just got married. Like, we found out, like, after everything already happened, we're like just gobsmacked. Like, it's such a cool story to think of. Like Steve said, it's the reason why he set this whole thing up is to find people, whether it is just watching a show together or whatever, and then maybe there's friendship, or maybe there's not, or maybe there's a connection, maybe there's not. But I mean, you guys took it to the top level you can take it. And I wish we knew earlier, because there was a number of us at WrestleMania this year. So we definitely could have ran into you guys. I mean, we were sitting up in the section where the lights shined in our eyes for 7 hours.
Oh, so the entire left half of the stadium.
Yeah, you know.
That was Stacy and I. I mean, well, and whoever, Brian. I mean, we were all in that section. It was fucking horrible. I mean, I didn't see much of Randy Orton at all.
No, barely see him.
You know, but Yeah, man, it was crazy. Well, listen, I still can't believe it. Like, I mean, I can, but you know, it makes me happy to know that, you know, it's doing what it's supposed to do. So everyone get out there, and it's free. So why the hell not? You know what I mean? It's free. So we've gotten through just about half of the show. Maybe now we should talk a little wrestling, because there's quite a bit to cover. Raw actually was not very bad. SmackDown, I gotta be honest, I'm getting really tired of this Roman Reigns whodunit fucking thing. By the reveal of this guy that looked like a fatter, shorter version of Eric Rowan, it tells me that they have no idea where they're going with this thing.
Nope.
So it's driving me crazy, because it's going and going and going, and I don't see where it's going, which is a problem.
Yeah, it's kind of meandering. So, well, our one dissenting opinion is Amanda, who can't make it. It says, Raw sucked dick.
All right, well,
I guess we'll find out why she said that. Amanda's usually not that impolite when she talks about it.
That's fine.
Yeah. Now tell us how you really feel.
Well, to hear her say that means something must be up.
Well, Amanda is having some technical difficulties. That's why she's not with us tonight, unfortunately. So she's quite upset she's not with us, and we are too. So I think there's a mix of emotions, and maybe she's taking it out on Raw. Who knows? But we're going to get her problem fixed and figured out, and she'll definitely be back next week. I don't know. See, now this is where we differ, because I didn't think Raw was half that bad this week. You know, but our guest, Ryan, what are your thoughts of this week's Monday Night Raw? Let's start with you.
Wow. I guess I just keep winning the lottery today. I'm not even gonna lie. I would say I'm half and half. I can see how someone would say that it sucked dick, because it kind of did. I also see why you would say it's not that bad, because it's not as bad as it's been. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, and I was actually just talking to a friend earlier today about Rude and Dolph Ziggler, Bobby Roode and Dolph Ziggler.
I'm happy about that. I am happy about that team. I think that's finally going to do something. I think they're going to actually go somewhere. I'm happy about that, because they've just not been doing the right thing with Rude. I happen to be okay with that team. I think it's going to be one of those teams that break out.
I hope so. I'm happy to see him on television. You know, like, where's he been? You know.
Amanda definitely disagrees with me.
I got some news for us whenever we get a moment.
News, huh?
Ooh, yes, some pretty big news. They announced the main event for Hell in the Cell in local marketing.
Is it a Hell in the Cell match?
Yes.
Oh, shit.
Who could have seen that, right?
Oh, who saw that coming? No, who's in it? Who's in it?
The Fiend versus Seth Rollins or Braun.
Ooh.
Wow.
Well, then I really hope Braun doesn't win the title, because I would like him to actually have a reign. So,
yeah.
But wow, they're gonna give him the strap right away. I'm okay with that.
The Fiend can't lose to Seth Rollins this early on.
No.
The Fiend can't lose. Period.
No, he shouldn't lose for years.
Right, like he's got to be like the guy that just doesn't lose for a while.
And if you take the title off him, it has to be a multi-man, like a triple threat.
Yeah, some kind of screw job thing. Yeah,
where he isn't getting directly pinned.
Yeah, he can't just be putting people over.
Amanda agrees the Fiend can't lose.
Can I say one thing?
Go for it.
About this breaking news. This right here is one of my biggest problems with WWE today.
Yes, preach. I'm with you. Go.
Like, you look at, like, you know, Goldberg's streak or like Taker's streak or anyone who's ever had momentum, like ever in the history of wrestling, you need to build that momentum so that we can all feel something when they finally climb the top of the mountain. This is what they always do when someone gets a good pop. What they did with the Fiend this year at SummerSlam was amazing.
Yes.
And everyone universally agrees. So what is WWE gonna do? Fucking ruin it by putting him in the title match right away, so that there's no pay. If he wins, well, good. We wanted him to win. There's no fucking payoff. If he loses, that sucks. So they put themselves in a lose-lose situation. Like they no longer know how to build storylines past 30 days. I do not know what.
Here's the problem. Here's the problem. For what Vince McMahon has it in his head that wrestling fans have no attention span at all. You know, when we were kids, there were storylines that would go for a year or even longer. Now they don't go more than 30 days because Vince McMahon just thinks that we get bored too fast. If the story is right and the story is done well, which they started to do with The Fiend, it would be perfect. But they have it in their heads. It has to keep going and going and going fast. That's why we're having so many title changes and everything else.
Speaking of Vince McMahon, supposedly he tore up the script for Smackdown tonight.
Of course he did.
He does it every week. That's not a surprise anymore.
Yeah.
See, Sam, it looked like Sam was trying to drop in. What's the chairman got to say?
So, obviously I'm with you guys. The way we came up, we love to watch long, drug-out scenarios and matches and storylines because it made it interesting. You built up. But we got to remember the time frame has changed, you know what I mean? And I think that's why we have so many pay-per-views, so many things, is that everyone's attention span is like seconds. Look at what we can do with our phones nowadays. So as the game has changed, he's trying to adapt versus, getting a different, I guess, demographic back. I don't know, but I just feel like that's why we have the 24/7 title now. I think that's why we have a lot of the extra pay-per-views, the quick pay-per-views on a weekend, the Shield pay-per-view, that just randomly shows up out of nowhere, is to grab that attention and that wow factor right now. But I like the old school way, but that's why Vince is doing it.
Yeah. I mean, we now have, instead of weekly television, they just drop an entire season and everybody watches it in a day to put on the times we're in.
Yeah, but wrestling can't do that. Wrestling has to.
I don't. I'm not saying it's for wrestling. I'm just.
But wrestling is doing it, and it's working for.
Somebody's got this playing in the background, and it's echoing. Just FYI, I don't know who it is. I wanna. One of the things that Amanda has mentioned that really pissed her off about Raw, and I say many things because it appears that there were many. She feels that Raw it really hurt the tag team division. So I want to back up for a second because one takeaway from the tag team turmoil was that, number one, you finally got to see the War Raiders against an actual team that's not a jobber kind of team.
Yeah.
That's number one.
Yeah.
Number two, you got what appears could possibly be the start of their first feud, and it be against the OC, Gallows and Anderson, which could be very interesting. So this could be the start of something really good for the War Raiders. That was my overall take, even though the way that they got double DQ'd and thrown out sucked. I mean, that just, whatever.
I don't see
I didn't like that.
Braun and Rollins holding on the titles for them much longer.
Well, no, it's a temporary solution.
Yeah.
But then you have Rudolph, Team Rudolph.
Yeah.
The red-nosed reindeer coming in. So does the two singles guys in a tag team lose to the new two singles guys in a tag team? I don't know where that's going. And then, I mean, Steve, to kind of touch on what you were saying about wanting longer storylines, but then I think Sam even talked about it too. We just complained about how stupid this Roman Reigns story is after like 3 weeks, and then somebody will go in WWE, see, the fans don't like the long storylines. They need things that are resolved quickly. And it's like, no, we don't like it when Eric Rowan's brother, who happens to be a fucking janitor, comes in for a scene, and then they're like, he's the one that did it, and it's like a pup named Scooby-Doo.
I was gonna say, yeah, it's like
It's
Scooby-Doo.
red herring. It's not red herring. It's never red herring.
Just for the record, what I said was.
Oh, here we go.
No. Listen, you can go back and listen. What I said was the storyline has to be right. It has to be right. It has to be a prolonged story, and the story has to be good. This is not a good storyline. It was cool at first when, the accidents were happening, but then they were shot in awkward angles that made it look like shit. You know what I'm saying? So the writing has to still get better, and it's getting better. But
I think anyone likes to see Roman Reigns get destroyed on a regular basis. It's more fun.
Almost killed on a daily basis is alright, in my book.
I'm waiting for the white Hummer to come out.
More of that shit should have happened. It shouldn't. Some boxes fell on me. Oh no!
It should have escalated instead of boxes and then a car.
Right. It could have been. Yeah, they could have been built longer where these accidents happened a couple weeks in a row, man. I don't know.
Yeah, like a helicopter or a volcano. That would work.
Hey, that happened in TNA. Someone got shot out of a volcano and
I thought
they get the 3 count.
Shane McMahon's helicopter that almost crashed last year.
Ryan, what do you think?
Oh, God. I think that the storyline fucking sucks, to be honest.
We ended up having 2 Ryan podcasts by the end of the night.
I would agree that people definitely love seeing Roman get beat up, whatever it is. I don't hate him as much as the average person, but just at least have it make sense. Like, this isn't the first time that we've seen a situation where someone got attacked and we were trying to figure out who it was. Obviously, one of my favorite ones is when who ran over Austin, but they've done it more recently than that.
I did it for The Rock.
But even like Jeff Hardy, when the fireworks were going off during his entrance.
Yeah.
And,
God, that was so dumb.
Well, at least there was the big reveal, right? There was
there was a reveal. But him going, oh no, the fireworks got me.
Yeah. And then it escalated to burning down his place and killing his dog.
Yeah, I killed your dog, Jeff Hardy.
I killed your dog, brother.
Fucking held up.
The chain. You weren't there for your dog.
But you see how we remember this?
Yes.
I promise you, in 3 years, if we talk about this Roman, based on where it's going right now, if we remember, if we were to talk about this Roman Reigns storyline, I'm not going to remember shit besides that fake Rowan. That's the only thing I'm going to remember.
Yeah, it's going to be like, hey, what happened with that fake Rowan? Yeah. I don't know. Why was he there? I don't know.
Whatever happened to that guy?
So let me ask this now. Let me shift it a little bit, because one other thing that I thought was pretty interesting is what they're setting up for Night of Champions, where Braun and Seth are going to defend their tag titles, but then at the same time they're going to main event and fight for the world title.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I like that.
It's different. So I'm on board.
Except that Braun's still going to go under, so it doesn't even matter.
Yeah, well, now that we know that if Seth's facing The Fiend at Hell in a Cell, or whoever the winner is facing Seth at Hell in a Cell, Seth can't lose the title for like a second or third time or whatever it is in this such a short span.
He will. Seth placemat Rollins.
I just love your optimism there, Sam.
He'll beat the Fiend because of the Yowie Wow.
The Yowie Wow.
He'll somehow beat Bray Wyatt on his family fun show, the kids show, and say, I beat you, but I couldn't beat the Fiend.
I don't know. I mean, Bray has been taking L's by big stars his whole career. So yeah. I think that's one thing. Everyone's all excited, right? He has a mask. He has a new theme song that's really the same theme song, but it's a remix.
That's
but
not-
oh, it's amazing. Oh my god! But you know, Bray. The whole reason why we're doing this whole reboot is because he lost to Cena, he lost to Taker, he lost to Roman, he lost to Jericho back at a time where Jericho lost to everybody. All he does is lose. So, you know, for Seth, who, you know, might be the placemat, well, you know, they call Seth the Kingslayer. Then they called him the Beast Slayer. I wouldn't be surprised if all of a sudden, within 2 short months, Seth became the Fiend Slayer.
Oh no! Oh, you have
Oh
to say
no!
it.
No, they can't fuck it up this early.
He is the man's man.
He's giving too much credit.
Here's my other thing too. I wanna say, I agree with what you're saying, but I also think that we need another Undertaker, Kane type character.
Yeah.
And if
Yes.
there was anybody on the roster that would be able to pull something like that off, it's Bray Wyatt. So I think, and then on top of it, you know, having these Night of the Living Dead people create the mask and have Undertaker have influence, it's, in a way, it's almost like passing the torch, even though Taker's obviously not going anywhere. You know,
He's eventually
It should be.
more days behind him than are in front of him.
Yeah.
well, true, but he just signed another contract, from what I understand. So, you know, who the hell knows?
The American Badass is going nowhere.
I think that was more to keep him off the appearances than for.
Yeah, they didn't want him doing those. He could get literally. This guy could get like $250,000 just to sign autographs. So
Or do a tell-all. Just go
Yeah.
and do a Q&A about the
Q&A.
Undertaker
They
character.
usually do a meet and greet with that, and it's a whole thing. And yeah, he could have made a lot of money, and they signed him. As long as we don't have mean Mark the Punisher in AEW, I think we're all set.
I don't think that was ever a possibility.
No, I don't think so.
I think the Mark in me is still hoping for the Sting Undertaker WrestleMania match.
I agree.
You
Jared
might
need it.
Paul on a pole.
listen. You might still be getting that match.
I'm hearing a lot of rumblings.
I just want it for the promos.
Yeah, and then
And go in the ring, and then just
Let's
go
see
take a
who's
focus
the
group.
slowest, who has the slowest, longest promo possible. Like, put some lightning around every promo.
At least Taker can cut a promo. Sting isn't the best.
Sting was never a big
Oh,
pro.
whoa.
Oh,
You guys gotta
here,
calm down.
Oh, here we
Calm
go.
the fuck down over
I
here.
love Sting, but he was never a big promo guy.
Yeah,
Sting is the fucking man. He's the best.
I'm not saying he isn't the man, but he's known for standing in the rafters silently.
Well, I'm sorry. I'd rather watch somebody with purple electrocution walk 42 minutes than flop.
Purple electrocution. I love it.
I'd pay to see that. If
I
he actually
wouldn't.
electrocuted somebody.
I'm gonna say Sting, even with spinal stenosis, can put on a better match in 2019 than
Exactly.
You know.
Ryan's my guy. Shit.
Ryan.
You guys remember this song?
Oh yeah.
Oh my! This is like, and this is before the Crow. Back when
This is the man called Sting.
The only gimmick that can get over with 0 words before Jericho tried to steal.
He could. I mean, the amazing thing, really, to put over Sting, because I was thinking not a big promo guy. Back before the Crow thing, he was surf for Sting. He was kind of hooting and hollering and all that shit. But he was never like super eloquent.
Yeah, he didn't come down and cut a 15-minute promo.
Go whoa, you know what I mean? Like, and that was it. Then you liked it. And that's why you liked Sting, because he was the man called Sting. He does this and does that. He's as quick as a cat, quick as a bat or some shit. I don't know. Oh.
There's some blasphemy going on. We're gonna have problems.
What I like Sting.
Yeah, it sounded like he was giving Sting some compliments.
No, he went from like bright neon guy who cut promos to black and white, silent, staring at somebody with a fucking bird on his arm. Like he got
That giant vulture that dropped a piece of paper that was supposed to have "I want Hogan's soul."
Was that a real thing that was supposed
That
to?
was a real thing. That's how they built up Hogan versus Sting.
I gotta go back and watch that shit.
It was on 83 weeks, and I watched.
I got it on a VHS if you need it, Vin.
I've got a bunch of WCW shit on VHS, man.
It's probably on the network now.
Oh, it's definitely gonna be all the Nitros and most of the Thunders.
It was a pay-per-view.
The I Want Sting one.
Yeah, it was. They did it on 83 weeks with.
Oh, okay. So I'll have to check that
Eric
out.
Bischoff. Plug.
Right. Well.
Give me 1 second.
We're supposed to have something in common with Eric Bischoff's show in terms of a sponsor, but they need to get back to us with some information. I will not be giving them any free publicity by saying their name right now.
It was Clash of Champions 35.
Perfect. Clash of Champions 35. I'll have to go. I'm definitely going to check that podcast out then. So, but yeah, we've got a sponsor coming up soon. That, hopefully we can start talking about.
You could say it was hard to get.
But anyway, Amanda is the one who is supposed to know about that, and she can't connect today. So, I know, since we're talking about the network, one of the questions that Amanda did want to ask earlier, we'll get back to not intern Ryan, but married Ryan. Who decides what you guys are going to watch if you're putting on the network to pick? Like, if not that there's a live pay-per-view or live show, but if you're just going to pick up the WWE network and put on a show, who decides?
What a question. I would say probably me, only because, and this might be heartbreaking to hear, she has kind of been falling out of love with WWE.
I know the struggle. Struggle.
If I brought Allison off the PS4 right now and was like, what is the greatest event that we ever went to together, she would not bring up the SummerSlam in 2016 that means so much to me, or the WrestleMania 33 that literally, transformed our whole lives. She would actually bring up All In Chicago last year.
Wow.
She had a tremendous time. We are so upset that we couldn't afford, with wedding and everything, we couldn't afford All Out. We will be obviously watching it, but that's where her that she's all about. Hangman Page. I still don't even feel comfortable because I feel like she might have a crush on Hangman Page. So I don't know, but so when we watch the network, like I'll always pick. I think on the network, I love the WWE 24s.
Yeah,
I agree.
The behind the scenes stuff, and that it's breaking that fourth wall. Like those are always so well produced.
Yes.
And another one with Kofi just came out, so I'm actually we have not watched it yet, but that's probably going to be the next thing we watch. So usually
it's great.
If we are watching the network, we're watching a WWE 24. There used to be a whole bunch of shows there that we used to watch. We love Swerve. She also likes Camp WWE a lot, like the cartoon.
I was a big fan of that.
Yeah, I mean, we used to watch a whole lot more of it.
What about Edge and Christian? The
thing of awesomeness. Yeah, she hasn't watched it that much. I watched it. Yeah, I thought that was good too. We have not watched Ride Along. We've watched Table for Three. Table for Three is all right. But we used to watch it a lot. When they were producing original content back then, when they first had it, there were all these different things. There were rivalries. List this. Oh, the Monday Night Wars. We watched that religiously.
I wish they went month by month with that. They did what WCW was doing, what WWE was doing, and then a show analyzing it.
Man.
You could milk that for years.
I completely agree. That had to have gotten their highs because that was such a well-produced show and obviously such a popular topic in pro wrestling history. That was probably our favorite thing that we watched. But they did the one season or those 10 episodes, and You know, a lot of those things. How many new episodes of Swerved are there? Or, you know, Camp WWE. I know they just came out with Edge and Christian, but, you know.
Wasn't Swerve canceled by that one lawsuit?
Everybody got butthurt about that show. And
Yeah, someone backstage got tased or something.
Oh, yeah, shit.
And they turned around and sued WWE.
And
I still love. I feel like WWE 24 is the only thing they still make new things of. So yeah, we've been watching that. The ones for WrestleMania backstage, I personally think are the best ones. Like when they do 34 or 33, and so all of that, building the stage and all the different things that go into it. Those I wish they did that for every single pay-per-view. Actually,
I agree.
It's a different side you get to see of people coming in and they're dressed in their street clothes. They get to see the set for the first time and all that. It's nice. You don't want to break too much kayfabe or too much character, but I feel like they do it the right way. They're walking a fine line with those 24 shows, but they always are able to steer it in the direction of this real life thing happened, but this is how we interpret it.
In the kayfabe sense.
Like the Dean Ambrose one.
Right.
He said a lot of stuff that months later, he's no longer with the company, and he says he elaborates on that on podcasts and all that. But you could already tell, those feelings were there, but then they took those feelings and put it into that feud with Seth, the feud with Roman. You people stink. I'm going to get my cootie shots. Let me put my gas mask on because everybody farted or whatever the fuck that was.
That was bad.
Yeah, but they used that. Real life frustration that he was feeling, they turned that into something. They used the Roman, even the Roman thing about his cancer, it was true. It was all true to a point. And then it became how it's presented on television. But they do it well, where it's not just like, Joe Anoa'i is a performer with World Wrestling Entertainment who entertains people. They didn't go that route of
he's a professional sports entertainer.
Yeah, it wasn't just hey, it's a show and he's an actor and there's his top hat and shit. They actually, they kept it within storyline, which is very cool.
Well, I think we've seen that any time that they successfully blur, that kayfabe, that reality line, the success. Oh my God! CM Punk, Money in 2011. Are you serious? Is he leaving? Is he staying? This is his last date. Oh my God! He won. What the fuck? He's in the crowd. What the any
taking the picture with the championship in the fridge.
Yeah, exactly. Anytime you can do that successfully, it's money. And there are some times where you do it and it's not successful. I think, for Triple H, especially, I love Triple H. I'm probably one of the few people.
I'm a big Triple fan.
Yeah.
Are you?
Yeah.
Well, we're a rare breed, man. Cause,
me and Ryan's are a very rare breed.
But his last few matches, I feel like, because he always, he has a pulse of, what fans like, and he knows that, that whole line between kayfabe and reality, that's what everyone loves. But he kind of goes a little bit too far. He doesn't have to call himself Paul Levesque every single time he's building up for a match. We get it. You're Paul Levesque. You're playing you're not Hunter or something. But just call when Ric Flair was attacked. That's what he did. He was Richard Fleer when, he was attacked and he was born in this, and, his, and now this is Dave, Bautista with the U and, now, he's just, we get it. These guys are actors. You don't have to name every single person by what's on their driver's license to sell tickets. I
was also going to bring up when he almost retired with the retirement angle with Brock when he broke his arm.
Yeah,
and he tried to play up for the crowd, and nobody bought into it. They were saying goodbye to him.
And then the next night, he lost to Michael McGillicuddy.
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I don't know.
That was the Curtis Axel debut. That was his debut.
Right, yeah, it was like, he's not Michael McGillicuddy anymore, he's Curtis Axel. And we're like, you still fucked up the name.
Yeah.
Like, how hard is it? Larry the Axe Hennig, Kurt Hennig, Mr. Perfect, and then Curtis Axel. What the fuck? Just call him Hennig. It's really, it's his real fucking name.
Yeah, I agree.
It's so simple, but
Hey, pal, we got to monetize the names.
right. My favorite part of the Triple H feud is the inevitable something bad happens to somebody he loves, so he turns red and he goes.
Yeah, he gets all the red in his
And he
forehead.
gets Alka-Seltzer, so his mouth foams up, and he's like, "Oh, I love it."
And that's where I miss JR, because in those days where Triple H would be freaking out like that, that's where JR taught me so many synonyms for the word angry. He would be like, Triple H is irate. Oh my God, he is enraged. Like, I can tell so many different ways.
Anger is pulsing through his veins. Look at his forehead. It is ready to burst. And all the 20 nicknames JR came up with Triple H, the Cerebral Assassin. And,
King of Kings.
yeah.
It was a game. We've been doing a lot of WWE, and you mentioned that you guys went to All In, which is awesome. I wish I could have gone to any of these AEW shows.
Oh, I agree.
Me too.
What do you think, since we're coming up on it, it's this weekend, All Out is the 31st, Saturday.
Very excited. Very excited. Like I said, we literally were trying to go, but the wedding was too soon. I almost moved the wedding. I'm not even going to lie. But,
The wedding's in Chicago now.
Yeah, that's actually what we should have done, honestly. That would have been a win-win for both of us.
Oh,
I had the wedding right at the...
if you told Cody or Conrad
convention.
Thompson or any of those guys, they would have had the wedding there. I bet if you contacted them, they would have had the wedding there.
Well, you know what we actually originally wanted to do? Because of Jericho's tweet, we wanted to get married on the Jericho cruise.
Me and Amanda almost got fake married just to have that happen. We were going to apply and then do it, even though, you know, she's got a very nice boyfriend who looks like he's on Sons of Anarchy, so I'm not going to do anything, you know, out of bounds. So it just would have been a fake wedding just for the publicity of Tagmeadate. But, yeah, that would have been... See, we were supposed to... We've been talking about this in the podcast. We were supposed to, and now he's in poor health, hire Howard Finkel to announce the wedding party at whoever the first couple was to get married. We found out...
Which he offered to do when I spoke to him.
Right. I mean, and now, of course, we just found out a little too late about it, or else, trust me, if he was healthy enough, we would have wheeled his little ass in there to announce it would have happened. So just consider it an IOU. We'll figure out a way to get that, to get something comparable done for you guys to celebrate the first Tagmeadate wedding. I feel like the podcast is a good start. The little graphics that we made were a good start, but we need a little pomp and circumstance. Ooh, yeah. So we'll figure something out.
Well, if you guys know Lillian's number, you know, let me know.
Are we gonna have the first Tagmeadate divorce too? Oh man, a Grand Slam champion. He gets married.
Shit. Still be on that Mount Rushmore though.
Oh yeah,
He wants to be on the first spot and second spot.
the first marriage and the first divorce, and then like the second half will just have the shit cracked up and it's broken. We're getting towards the top of the hour. Steve, do you have any housekeeping stuff, Tagmeadate related stuff? Anything else we need to address before we sign off for the evening?
Yeah, we're still working on this Apple approval. So we know that there are still issues with the Apple app. So bear with us. We're working on it.
Suck dicks, Apple. Suck dicks.
Yeah, it's just it's a nightmare. But we're getting it. We're working
Look
on
how
it.
long it took us to get approved for the podcast.
Holy Moses! Yeah.
Right, so you can only imagine with the app. So please bear with us. If you're having issues, feel free to use the actual website. That does work. And if there's any issues, you can always email askthewarreport.com or ask@gmail, and we'll try and work you through it. But outside of that, I just want to thank Ryan again.
Can I plug my shit?
That's what happens when you have two.
I'm sorry, I literally thought you were talking to me.
Well, no. First of all, we do have to acknowledge Ryan, the intern, has been doing a lot of work to get our streaming back online because YouTube got rid of Google Hangouts, which is how we used everything. But we're still using Google Hangouts. We're just using a capture program now, and we're also streaming on multiple services. So
That's what I was going to plug.
Ryan, tell them.
We are now live on multiple services. Facebook. I'm getting there. I paused for dramatic effect, and you killed it.
Okay.
You're like, dramatic. Nope, get the fuck out of there. We're on Facebook Live, twitch.tv/SGlenwick. It will be Tagmeadate in 2 months' time. And we are still on YouTube. And on top of that, tomorrow we will be on all podcasting services, including Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Spotify. Anywhere there is a podcast service, we are there. Under Tag Me a Date, all one word, Tag Me a Date, Tag Me a Date.
Yes, no shit. Tag Me a Date. And so I guess more than one place for you to like and subscribe, but if you're watching on YouTube, now would be a good time to hit that subscribe button. Go to youtube.com, in the search bar, you type in Tag Me a Date, no spaces. It'll bring you right to the tagmeadate.com channel where you can subscribe, hit the bell, so you can see when we upload a video or go live. We go live every Tuesday evening, 7 p.m. on Eastern Time. In addition to all those podcast platforms the next day where we take the audio from this live video and then put it up on our podcast platforms. And, of course, follow us on social media, Tag Me a Date, again, no spaces, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, etc. And tagmeadate.com, the first and only dating site exclusively for wrestling fans. It works. We have not only a match, but an engagement and a wedding. And before we close out for tonight, married Ryan, not Ryan the intern. I just said your piece.
Sorry.
But Ryan, our guest for this evening, again, thank you for coming on. If there's anything you want to plug or let people know about in terms of you want to follow social media or you own a business and you want to like your page or something, anything like that you want to tell the people before we sign off tonight.
Special shout out to Jim Beam. Honestly, I'm not even out here to serve any other agenda other than to, share with anyone that's listening right now. I was skeptical. I literally was at this convention, randomly spoke to these people about a website that I did not believe in. I literally did it. I was like,
Thank you for that.
It didn't make sense. But I gave it a shot, and now my life has dramatically changed. I can't even stress enough. Wayne Gretzky and then Michael Scott said, "You missed 100% of the shots that you don't take," and that's what this really was. It was a shot in the dark, and now I have a wife who I love, who loves video games, which is why she's not here. I think she loves me too. But seriously, I am so thankful, and for anyone listening, it's really worth taking that shot.
There you go. And it's free. Like, a lot of dating sites charge money for this shit. It's free. We want
and they put every tiny little piece of the website behind a paywall.
That's right.
Oh, someone liked you. Give us $9.99.
Yeah, we want to make it accessible to everybody. I don't even know what to say. I'm so glad you came on, Ryan. If you ever want to come on again, you want to bring your wife on, or if you guys want to drop in, just let us know. I mean, we love having guests, and especially people who mean something to.
How about we bring them back after All Out? See how she likes All Out.
We'll talk. I'll
bring wife on for
discuss All Out details. Yeah,
and then we'll do the anniversary show.
There you go.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, you'll have the anniversary party, the 1 year anniversary party. We'll have
Howard Finkel.
I'll put it out this way: you guys last year, you'll have a gift.
There you go. Make it. Hey, have faith. They're gonna make it more than just a year.
Oh, I didn't say your anniversary. They're getting something.
Well,
I got an idea.
Eventually, I'm gonna get second generation with it. I'm gonna have my son on this show, or someone's gonna be on this show. So definitely. Hopefully she didn't hear me. Hopefully I didn't say that too loud. I don't know if she's ready yet. But anyway,
she's just turn around. She's standing right next behind you. So
There's
what about
any rush? Never any rush to have kids. It's on your timeline. But thank you for coming on. I think that's it. We should probably just end the show. I don't know. I never know how to end these things, especially with a guest on. Steve, help me out here.
Yeah, well, listen, SmackDown Live has started, so we should definitely take it home. But listen, you can come back every Tuesday. 7 p.m. We're live. And back to the regular scheduled programming next week. SmackDown, Raw, Night of Champions, AEW, all the same shit. It's just what we do.
Yeah.
King of the Ring continues.
And King of the Ring continues.
Yes.
Yes.
Baron Corbin show.
Oh no!
Shit.
Oh, you said it out loud. Now it's
He just breathed it into life right there. It's gonna happen.
So on that,
I blame you.
On that note, we gotta go.
Right? That's how we're gonna end things with King Corbin.
Yes. I ordered 42 King Corbin vests.
See you guys next week. Thank you for watching.
See you next week.